And I remember in 2000 there was a famine in Ethiopia, and he was concerned and he was raising awareness, um, just telling people about what is going on there. This is back in 2000. We were in the Cedar Riverside area of Minneapolis, and that's where it was like the place where a lot of new immigrants used to come, at least to start their life there. And we used to meet at the masjid of Dar al-Hijra, all from different background. But Sheikh Umar was that type of person who, because of his skills, especially he knows many language. And so he was telling us about what is going on in Ethiopia, about the famine. And he was telling us, we need to do something about our people back home.
Sheikh Umar really, he was a leader, and he was very active in the community, and he was well connected to the whole community, Since he speaks Somali and Oromo and Amharic and Arabic, he have 4 languages, So he was very easy for him to communicate from one community to the other community, And he was a great guy, and he was a good friend of mine, beside the organization, he was a good friend of mine. We used to see each other, and we sometimes go drink coffee and stuff like that. And he tell me always, his heart and his mind, with the Horn of Africa,
So I do remember vividly a number of East African community members used to worship together at a masjid called Dar al-Hijra in the Cedar Riverside neighborhood of Minneapolis. This is the hub of the community. And so many of us, this was also the first East African-led masjid or mosque in the Twin Cities. And we often pray together, and of course discussions will happen, feeling of what's going on in the community, what's happening in the homeland. So Sheikh Umar will always bring up this idea of transcending clan or tribal or geographical differences, and saying always the Horn of Africa is our homeland. We do have Eritreans, we have Oromia, we have Amhara speakers, we have Somalis. So it makes sense that we gather our resources together and establish an organization that helps the Horn of Africa.
And he talked to Dr. Muhammad, Dr. Idris, And Dr. Idris referred him to me, And he called me. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning, was early morning, and I just waken up. And he talked to me, he said, Brother Abu Saleh, we want to just plan, I have an idea to make an organization, that serve the Horn of Africa, not only Ethiopia or Somalia, the whole Horn of Africa. And this idea was new, No other organizations did like we did,
I remember actually Abu Saleh approached me and said, oh, we're thinking about doing some kind of a charity organization. You want to come and just listen and help us with ideas? So I think I came to their second or third meeting. And that's where I met Sheikh Umar. Actually, from the beginning, he's approachable, really nice guy, and full of energy and passion for the organization, for building something. He did it. The thing I remember what we said is that I had one question: is that why are we repeating the other organizations? Why are we reinventing a wheel? And he said, is that for our community, there is one thing, is that we don't see anything dedicated to there. So why not us build it?
First of all, we started the idea in Dr. Idris' house. We gather there and we invite a lawyer to write a protocol for us and bylaws, stuff like that.
The first thing we did is that, to establish a nonprofit organization here in the US, you need even some funds just to do the registration, to get the 501c tax exemption status. And so what we did is, the first thing, we started it ourselves. So we made a commitment of everybody paying $50 per month. And I think we did that for the next 2-3 years almost.
If I remember, none of us had worked in a relief organization before. How to do it, what to do, and how we can take it from an idea into working in the field, both here by collecting the fund, sending the fund, and implementing a project, safeguarding the money that people entrust us with, and then make a change for the beneficiaries in the Horn of Africa.
My role was that of a facilitator. So Masjid Dar al-Hijra being the home base for the founding of ARAHA, and the masjid was very humble at that time. It was a very small space in Cedar Riverside, and because the space was so small, we often used the basement as a gathering place, and it was really not even conducive or that welcoming at that time. But again, a community that's new to the country with limited resources, we had that sense of humbleness and humility.
I built the first ARAHA's website. I got the first email. We were trying to get, at that time we were not committing to pay for domain name and stuff like that. So we found some kind of free things, and I found like how to get the free business cards. So I was doing a lot of the computer stuff. I remember even we were discussing what would be the password for the ARAHA email.
We used to go to masajid, and if the masjid give us an opportunity, we will come to the congregation and we will show them a video about what is going on, and then we will do a fundraising. This actually was a signature project, you can say, or a signature method that we used to come with our equipment to every masjid, and then we will bring our projector and we will show them from the ground the situation or what we have done, for example, and then ask people. And people were so excited to see this and start helping us here. And this is a grassroots, so individual donors was basically from different background was contributing to this. And I think one of the things that helped us is that every time we do something, we used to report about it. We take pictures, video clips, and then we show, we say, this is what we have done. This is what your donation have done. This is the impact and the result of your contributions. So that really helped us coming back to the people, every time.
I remember clearly when the name ARAHA was chosen, we considered several names, and the acronym ARAHA, American Relief Agency for the Horn of Africa, matched an Arabic word that means I see her. So I remember everybody just lighting up and I see her, yeah, do you see her? And we used to joke with that name, and all the board members excited. And even today, a lot of times people often make that connection of ARAHA it's an organization that is visionary, always looking out for those who have less, and for those who have more, to give back and work together in a collaborative spirit. وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. The Quran tells us to collaborate in that which is good, and also avoid and not collaborate in doing what's evil or harmful.
I think at that time we wanted to build something that belong to East African American here in Minnesota. Something that we are considered one of the largest East African immigrants here in the U.S., having the largest Somali population and the largest Oromo population. We wanted to be, this is something led by the people and a grassroots community organization that understand the challenges in the ground, and I think that's the thing that we wanted to build. I remember this was like there was outbreak of cholera, and people were dying almost like every 3 hours. They were losing one person. I remember.
It was after a flood.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something like that. So, and this is the picture that of the tree that was part of this project. Our team, our resources were so small that we were able only to send some doctors and nurses and an IV solution. That's the only thing we were able to do. So they were using this tree to hang the IV solution, and then they bring the sick people behind, and then they, they will get the IV. Their relatives will be beside them. Once the IV solution is completed, they will take them, and then we take them out, and then we bring another person. So, and then the team shot that picture at the end of the day, and they send it to us. Subhanallah. This is سنة كم هي؟ This is I think housing units for refugees. 2008. Yeah, this is housing units. Maybe you want to talk about this.
This was like a one-person campaign to build a school for girls in refugee camp.
Yeah.
It was the biggest project we had at that time. We never had any project like that. And usually the project will be like, you build it or do something and done.
Yeah.
This one, we have to build it and continue
supporting it
for the teachers, the students, materials, all that. That was the first one.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of discussion back and forth how to maintain it.
Yeah.
Is it going to be something possible? I think that's the biggest.
Yeah.
I think it's the most successful project we ever had.
Yes.
Still continue, alhamdulillah.
And the nice thing about this is the school in Shagarab camp in Sudan. An Eritrean refugee who came here in the U.S. started this project. So she remembered when she was a refugee, and she felt she needed to do something. So she established an organization called Healing Bridges, and she was in L.A. Her name is Zabiba Sheikhia. So she collected this money, but she didn't know how to, implement the project, and she came to us, and that's how the project started.
Yeah, I kind of like this project, the wheelchairs for the handicapped people that took place some years back, and our community is just so generous. Imagine, tons of containers of medical equipment and wheelchairs, and to be transported all the way. Imagine the change and impact of this kind of donations. Yes.
Yeah, we try to adapt that. We try to make some partnership between schools here and school there, but that was one of the fascinating things, is that just one person telling their school, you know what, why don't you make your charity day this year for Somalia, and convincing them with that. And then they were able to raise 20,000, and I remember we did about 10 water wells with that money in Somalia. And this is just an effort of one person. And actually from that, an idea came to us that, and still until today, we are doing it, which is the Lifesaver campaign. Like instead of ARAHA doing the fundraising, we allow the community member or a group of community members to launch a campaign on our website. It's like a GoFundMe, but it is in our website, and we don't take any percentage out of it. We did the whole thing for the project that they collected for. And because of that idea, many people were able to do many projects back home. And I remember here in even the Somali community here, one time there was a donation of an ambulance. They were able to get that ambulance. It was a used ambulance, but it was in a good shape. And they came to us and said, can you send this to Somalia? And we were able to send it to one of the hospitals there. Yeah, Abi and Mia. Abia Grabowski and Mia Kovan was two girls from, I think, from Edina. And they just did a lemonade stand when they heard about the situation in the Horn of Africa. And we were sending food containers. So we had a campaign asking people to help us pay the cost of the shipping of the containers. And they took on, those two girls, they took on themselves to raise funds through the lemonade stand. and they were able to raise 2,286, which was enough to distribute back at that time to actually to ship or to pay for the clearance and the distribution cost of that container. And that container, it has about 250,000 meals in it. So this just tells you the power of how one or two people can, do something about it. Yeah. So we took this and this is the check that they were. We were trying to yeah, we were trying to.
That check too.
Yeah, they made that check themselves, and their parents actually came here. They were so proud of them, and that tell you also the different background of people coming from different, not only East African, but from different donors and supporters. Humanitarian, yes. It's a human story. It's a human story. Yeah.
We came here as refugee or the immigrant, in this country, and we know this back home, there is a lot of people who are suffering until today, So when you are here and you live in a good life, you have to remember back home, what you can contribute, to these people, So our heart and our mind was there, back home, how we left people behind us, and these people are pretending, and depending on us, here. So that is what the main point, you have to give back, instead by living for yourself, This is the main.
This work is the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is to really bless and honor people to be involved in this work. Why? Because by helping others, you are helping yourself. And in Islam, we have there's a balance between this world and the hereafter. So when you do this kind of work, you are planting the seeds for the hereafter, while at the same time contributing and helping others. You are helping yourself. So there's a barakah, there's a blessing, there's a tawfiq. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving the person the opportunity to be engaged in this kind of work. So it doesn't depend on any particular person. It's the humility, the gratitude, the compassion. Irham man fil ard, yarhamukum man fis sama. Be kind to those that are in this world and in this life, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from above will be merciful to you.
You don't need to do ARAHA. Do what you can. And just the thing is that we started from nothing, with no knowledge, just with a passion and a drive to do something, to make a change. And alhamdulillah, we can see the change of ARAHA from zero to now. And so you come with ARAHA, great, you're gonna see a good result. You go somewhere, do something, make a difference. ARAHA here is not to grow bigger, it's ARAHA to end the cycle of famine and disaster. Like that person now, getting just a wheelchair. For us, it's just a wheelchair, but maybe now he can go to the market faster. He can be self-sustained, not needing to rely on others to get him to a place of need or visiting the hospital. You're saving the cost that was on top of him where he's disabled. So there are a lot of things that we're seeing that we're changing the person's how they're living, not just sustaining them for the day.
And through the 25 years, if we want to do like a lifetime impact, we can say ARAHA built over 614 water wells across the region. We have built 5 schools, high schools, elementary schools, technical schools. We have 5 schools that is from scratch, and we are operating 2 of them on an ongoing basis with teachers, with food, with all the things that requires operating schools. We also sent over 150 containers of medical supplies, medicine, food, books, These books, for example, we distribute them to over 30 universities and libraries in Somalia. We also sponsored over the years about 15,000 orphans. This is not to talk about the food distribution, the hot meals that we provided, the millions of meals that we have provided, and also the self-reliance project through dairy goats, a water tanker, donkey cart, things that make people, make families work and generate income for themselves. And I can go on and on. These are just some of the highlights of the lifetime impact.